Welcome to Between State Lines.
Welcome back to Between State Lines, episode 34. And Steph, you got the snow that you wanted this week and some ice. Did you get off work both days or just one day or what?
A day and a half. So they officially said everybody go in at 1 p.m. on a Friday. It's like, this is terrible. I still thought about doing it. And then I really thought about it and I was like, absolutely not. I'm not driving an hour to work for half of a day. And I was going to be late anyways. Yeah, I went around town and there's like no snow, but my neighborhood still is like dicey.
See, we got like I think about 4 inches of snow and funny story, and I'm really bummed I didn't get this on my Nest camera for the doorbell. Because for whatever reason the camera stopped recording for a few hours yesterday, but I went outside in my flip flops and I went to get the mail and completely biffed it going down the stairs and did not get it on camera. I'm so bummed. I was going to upload it to TikTok, but did not get it on camera. So
Damn.
annoying.
Missed opportunity. But
Missed
stairs?
opportunity. Yeah, it
And
hurt like hell.
yeah, I bet.
Especially now that we're older. Like I feel like it wouldn't have hurt so much when I was in my 20s, but in my 30s, I really feel it.
Yeah, everything hurts. Like, okay, is it just me or does your body ache when you're laying down in bed? Because mine does.
If if I lay in the same position for too long, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what is that? That drives me crazy.
It's again, we are in the bad place and we are getting what what punishment we deserve, apparently.
Yep, we're being punished. Can't even
We
lay
are.
there happily.
So did you see the Nazis that were hanging out on the overpass in Ohio last week?
No, I definitely missed
Yeah,
that. That's terrible.
yeah, they a bunch of fucking Nazis, which guys, I want to reiterate, it is okay to punch Nazis. We advocate for the beating up of Nazis here. But they decided to have a protest on an overpass in I think Dayton or Cincinnati, one of the two areas. And there was a huge counter protest. All the locals came out, like a bunch of them came out, and were like screaming at them, yelling at them, throwing canned food at them.
Okay, I did vaguely hear about that. I just heard about the throwing canned food.
Yeah, my
Oh, they had it on hand.
like you went and got the canned food to pelt these fuckers, which I love. I fucking love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, somebody said that like canned food was on sale, so it's cheaper than getting like actual vegetables. And I love that. It's brilliant. Poetic.
Yeah, it was very poetic, very beautiful. I loved seeing it. Oh, so I have this I had this quote I want to read to you from our lovely president, and I want you to try to tell me what the fuck he's talking about. There's really no context behind it, but I'm gonna say it, and you try to decipher it for me. And it goes, and instead of using hydraulic like on tractors that can handle anything from hurricanes to lightning to anything, they use magnets. It's a new theory. Magnets are going to lift the planes up, and it doesn't work. And they had billions and billions of dollars of cost overruns. I met the architect. I said, "Have you designed a ship before? This is one of the biggest ships in the world. It's like landing at LaGuardia Airport."
Did I have a seizure? Like,
I think I had a seizure reading that. Like, what the
what does any of it mean? I don't know.
some people have theorized that he's referring to aircraft carriers, but like they don't use magnets to like lift planes. They use electromagnetic magnets to like shoot planes forward. But like, or maybe like airplane elevators, but like no one knows what the fuck he's talking.
Well, yeah, I'm like trying to. None of that was memorable, and I don't think any of it made sense. And it switched from one thing to the next really quickly.
Yeah, I saw the video and I was like, what the fuck are you trying to say, dude? I honestly have not a clue. But yeah, I mean, he's a stable genius and he's obviously a lot smarter than Joe Biden is or was.
Yeah, definitely. Too smart for
And
me to understand all those big words.
all those and RFK Jr. is now our HHS secretary, which is very lovely. And he has it in his plan, he wants to get rid of antidepressants
Oh,
because they, according to him, make people violent.
oh, oh.
This is where
Interesting.
we're at.
Yeah, I have not heard that. I That's really scary. That's really scary. And not because it makes people violent. That's yeah, especially just like that he can't do that, right?
I, you know,
Can he do that?
I I I thought Trump can't do anything that he can do. Currently, that he's done, and he's whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. Wow, that's so scary, like taking people off that abruptly. And how can they just take away antidepressants because one guy has strong feelings about it? Um, but they can't like I'm so confused.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand it, but that's where we're at. Apparently, he's zoning in on like people who have specifically have like asthma and they take antidepressants. He's like, you're at higher risk to be violent. I'm like, what that
Is
what?
are sir, are you a doctor? Like I,
I
this
just
world is
like
so scary. It's so scary. Why? Why do people who know nothing get to make all of the decisions?
yeah, I don't understand it. It makes no sense. And like Louisiana apparently is following his guide on vaccines and they're stopping any kind of like campaigns for vaccinations. So like they're not advertising for flu shots or like COVID shots or just your standard like childhood vaccinations. They're stopping all advertisements for that. Just like stopping.
Yeah, yeah. How? Because I feel like there's so many things out there that people are like, "Oh, this is a epidemic. It's made by big farm," and it's like, how can this guy make a decision that's gonna? I don't even know if it's all about the money, but even like, how are these big companies just like not doing anything? What's going on?
What is going on? I just don't like this level of America that we're about to enter or we've entered. I'm not a fan of. And like we are getting really dumb, like really fucking stupid with this shit.
It just feels like the end is near. Like none of this makes any sense.
Why can't they get that asteroid to Earth any sooner? Like let it hit us this year. Can we lasso it and like pull it towards us? Like it could work. You fly into
Is
space.
is that the motivation that there is for all these bad things happening so quickly? Is because they're like, we only have so much time till the asteroid. We must destroy everything.
Let's see how bad it can get before we all die.
I'm like, every day, I cannot believe. And I miss so much of what's going on, and I just still can't believe all the things happening.
In good news, Trump got booed at the Super Bowl, even though Fox News edited the audio and put cheering over the boo.
Magic. Magic. Like everybody who's there
They're
just
so happy.
wow. Nothing surprises me. It shouldn't this is the bad place.
It seriously It seriously is. And Trump and his administration banned the AP from any kind of White House press conference because they refuse to call the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America.
What?
And so they're banned from any kind of press conference.
Oh,
So, which is funny because like that means that they get upset that you don't call something a specific name, but they're okay not calling trans people their preferred pronouns or names. Like it's the same principle.
yeah. Everything just has to be a specific way, and I don't understand why there are so many people that are like, you're just falling in line, you're just falling in line, but they're to a T falling in line, and everything feels like how can you exist as a person and live this same reality that I live and feel that way? I don't understand.
Yeah, I hate it here. I mean, every day it's like a new nightmare and a new shit fest. I mean, I'm not a fan of this at all.
Yeah. Yeah, 0 out of 10. Let's get out of here.
Zero, 0 out of 10. Um, so I have some obviously our usual segment on creepy facts. Um, Number one, there's an unverified legend of an arcade game called I'm gonna butcher this name, Polybius, that was installed on several arcades in the 1980s that people would line up to play and report nightmares and hallucinations afterwards. Apparently, men in black would come to collect the unknown data from the machines.
What? And this is just like an arcade game?
It's an arcade game called Polybius. I think that's the pronunciation. Polybius. Polybius.
Oh, my nightmare. Just like stumbling into a nightmare. Yeah.
And then the men
What
in
kind of
black come and get you.
what kind of experiment is it? They're just coming to collect the data on the machines. Like what else is going on?
Yeah, I mean, what are they getting from like your eye, whatever they call that when your eye like goes data from your eye or whatever, your eye action. I don't know what they call when your eye like
Is
the
it following
worst.
your eyes? I was thinking
I,
like
I yeah,
I don't know. What
I'm
movements you're making within the game.
exactly yeah, like what decisions you're making. Ooh, it could have been like preparing for the future because like trying to see how humans and citizens react to different things.
Who knows? Do you know?
I, I'll find out one day.
Okay.
Um, this one is from your favorite place in Washington. I mean, your favorite state, Washington.
Awesome.
Over 4 days in 1994, it rained a gelatinous goo that made people really sick. The event was known as the Oaksville Blobs, and none of the blobs actually still exist to this day. They're all gone. But according to an article in the New York Times on August 20th, 1994, scientist Mike Osweiler of the Washington State Department said they found a number of cells of various sizes and 2 types of bacteria in the blobs, but were unable to identify them. They did, however, note the cells did not have nuclei, which was significant in that it refuted a previous claim that blobs contained human white blood cells, which do have nuclei. But people who found these blobs hanging out in their yards or on their windshields or on their cars, they reportedly got very, very sick, stomach issues, flu-like symptoms, just overall feeling like shit, very violent illnesses. No one died, but just very, very sick. Um, and scientists aren't sure if these blobs rained down or if they came up from the earth.
Ooh.
It's never happened again, and it was like 3 weeks that happened randomly in Washington in 1994.
That's so weird and disgusting. And you're so unsuspecting. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, what is this? And you're sick. Um, Also kind of feels like the whole fog thing that's been going on here. I don't know if you've been experiencing that too. There's been an excess amount of fog this last year. And I don't know. I I just have my theories on later on they're going to be like, okay, and this happened actually, and you were all like a giant experiment.
Yeah, we've had a ton of fog over here, so I definitely do not recall a year that I've seen as much fog as I have this past year.
Yeah, like fog used to mean that later on in the day it was going to get really sunny and it was going to burn off the rest of the fog. And then you're going to have a really, really cold night. Then you wake up and there's fog again. That was typical. But this fog has just been not typical at all. Like it's just like there. It's not freezing fog. It's just fog. It's there, and I don't know. It just seemed weird. I've noticed a lot of patterns previously, and this one it just did not go by the normal pattern.
There is a sugar factory in the like a few towns over from us, and when it was really foggy, it we did get like the freezing fog, but we got like also snow in the fog. It would like specifically in the fogged areas, it would be snowing, but it wasn't like from the sky. It was just the fog was so dense it like produced snow. But the sugar factory pumped out so much like shit into the air that it would go in with the fog. So you'd have like the fog snowing this like absolute garbage quality snow onto your cars for like a week straight.
Ugh. That sounds
It was
awful.
beautiful. It also smells like, and that factory is going, it smells like absolute fucking ass. Like, I hate that smell so much.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, terrible. But it would here.
Um, Hundreds of people die every year by strangulation from their bed sheets.
Wait, what?
Hundreds of people die every year by being strangled by their bed sheets.
By like another person using their bed sheets or just
Nope,
from sleeping?
just them,
Just tank.
just from sleeping. Yep.
Wow. They like tuck their edges really tight and they just get like sucked into it, can't breathe. That's
Yeah,
scary. Hundreds of
or
people?
they hundreds of people, or they like cocoon themselves and like cocoon too tightly.
Wow.
See, this is
I
why
don't.
I don't sleep under the covers. I sleep on top of the covers because I am in general I'm a hot person, so I don't like being under the covers. But also now I do that because I don't want to die from strangulation.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I sleep under my heated blanket. I I'm just that's all I need. But I do have a lot of blankets. I don't know. That's
Were
terrifying.
were you? I don't. I want to know if this is just me. Were you told by your parents or your mom that like if you left a heated blanket on, it would catch fire, or if like something was on like your heat register, for example, like the AC, the vent that the heat comes out of, that it would cause a fire?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody.
Is it true?
It's not true apparently, and I get made fun of that all the time. But I never put anything on the vents at all.
Yeah, I tell my kids constantly not to put stuff on the fence.
Thank
I'm
you, thank you.
yeah, I'm
I
perpetuating this lie. It's a lie?
I I feel like I am vindicated now because like I have been doing this forever and I get made fun of for like, oh, it won't catch fire, it won't get hot enough. I'm like, yeah, but then it will catch fire and then we'll all die. And then what will you say then? Oh, we're dead. Oh, what you good?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. My family makes you scared of everything. So like they won't get like the thing on the fridge that gives you water because that'll leak and the fridge already leaks. Like just make it so we can drink water. But no. No. They're too scared of that. But yes, so the catching fire, I've definitely heard like all the things, I'm pretty sure. And my uncle told me it's not true, but he told me because he didn't cut the vent holes in my floor when he did it. So my room gets really cold. And you can't put anything over the vent because it's not there.
I am vindicated. I feel so better, much better now. That
Nobody's ever made fun of me for this.
yeah, I get made fun of for it. Like, oh no, it won't catch fire. I'm like, but it will though. Like, what if it
Yeah.
does? You learn something new every day. So the last fact I have is that one of the most common places to find a dead body. Can you guess where it is?
Side of the road.
On the toilet.
What? Okay.
The theory is that people don't feel well and they go to the toilet and then like dead.
Damn. Kind of happened to me on
I
Christmas
was thinking
Day.
that when I wrote this, I was like, Steph almost became a statistic.
Yeah. Man. Near death experience. That's crazy. And terrible. Terrible. I thought how unlucky of me. And that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't have a near death experience where you're like, I had an out of body where I floated above my body on the toilet or against the wall.
No, I swear, I heard a radio and I was trying to listen to what they were saying. And my mom kept saying my name. And I was just like, what? Because she's interrupting whatever radio was going on in my head. I want to know what I was tuning into because I was somewhere.
You went somewhere and you heard some kind of radio station. Maybe oh, I know what it was. Maybe the Ghost Babies have a radio station and they
Maybe. I don't know. I felt like I was really interested in whatever I was listening to. So, yeah. I'm so sad I
um
can't remember.
yeah, that is a bummer. You could publish a story and be world famous for your near death experience on the toilet.
I mean, there's a Facebook group for that. It's not that special, but I would be able to talk to other people about my experience and it would be great, but I can't remember. I just remember really, really wanting to know or at least remember what I was listening to, but nope, all gone.
Ah. Um Okay, so for today's episode, I figured we would cover a topic we haven't talked about in a while. That topic is ghosts. So I picked a few, I think 3 places in the Pacific Northwest that are supposedly haunted.
Awesome.
Um, and the first one is, again, in your favorite state, Washington. It is the Northern State Mental Hospital. Um, yeah, so it was once a psychiatric facility, and the abandoned buildings are now rumored to be haunted by former patients. Urban explorers have reported ghostly sightings and strange happenings within the decaying walls. Um, the life at Northern State wasn't what most people would expect it to be. Many of those admitted weren't mentally ill at all, just individuals going through difficult periods in life. Rebellious teenagers, depressed young adults, menopausal women, they were all sent there to be quote unquote straightened out.
Awesome.
In addition, they also sent alcoholics and drug addicts to this facility as well, along with immigrants, victims who are all victims of the era's obsession with racial cleanliness. Mental health at the time was so poorly understood, so those who simply needed support were placed alongside patients with severe disorders like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
I'm like, does this sound familiar? Does this sound like something that maybe we're headed towards again? Everybody gets sent
Right?
here.
I mean, we are literally all going to Guantanamo Bay. It won't be a mental facility. It'd be like a facility where you just die at.
Yeah, just a place that they send everybody that they're like not deemed worthy enough.
Yep. The gotta get that cleanliness out of this country. Um
Oh, I figured out severe bipolar disorder. Women. That's probably it. Anyways, go on.
yes. Yes. That well, yeah, I mean that's just just being a woman would get you. And then Gen Z will just all pretty much fall under the rebellious teenager. Um but and they can't really send people for depression now because depression doesn't exist. It's just made up and you're just feeling the blues.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. So maybe other things will also be made up. And so nobody will actually have any of this stuff on their record. I don't know.
um So thousands of patients died at Northern State, but most of their bodies were never claimed. The state handled burials, often cremating patients in an on-site furnace. Hundreds of cremated remains were found stored in tiny tin cans, allegedly packaged by other patients in the hospital's canning facility. The remains were later buried in Mount Vernon Cemetery. Most patients, however, were laid to rest in the asylum's 1.5-acre cemetery. Records indicate that over 1,400 bodies were buried there, but the swampy ground caused many headstones to sink. Over time, flooding eroded the markings, leaving the graves unidentifiable. Even when the hospital was operational, the cemetery was neglected. Cows were allowed to graze, and but today efforts are underway to exhume and properly identify the remains. Um, so as public opinion shifted on the hospital and mental health as a whole, people began pushing for better treatment of the mentally ill, and reports of inhumane experimental procedures surfaced, and the Washington state legislature cut funding for the hospital. And then in 1976, officially, it shut down. Um, Over the years, many buildings were demolished, including the farmhouses that were there, And today, parts of the site remain abandoned and off limits, although some areas are used for a local job corps program and a drug rehab center. And obviously, the urban explorers go hop in there all the time. But visitors to the abandoned hospital, often report unsettling experiences. Cold spots, the feeling of being watched, and disembodied voices. Shadows have been seen darting through the graveyard. The most well known ghostly figures are a young girl with a red ball and a man chasing after her. Some say they've seen them running through the hospital's halls, while others claim to have spotted the girl standing alone in the graveyard. Um, yeah, and that is Northern State Mental Hospital.
Wow. I used to explore a mental hospital when I was in high school, and the so scary. I don't know that I would ever do it again. The experience is there, and then picturing a little girl with a ball and a man chasing after her. Ugh, too close to my own experiences of like, what are these people doing here? But no, thank you.
The little girl is like, "Can you throw this ball for me?" And the old man is like, "Whoa, no, I'm gonna get you, little girl."
Yeah, I like that version a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah. So that's Northern State. I too went to a mental hospital. I was abandoned once, and it was a lot of fun. Um, I don't know if I would do it nowadays. I feel like there's probably a lot of sketchy people in these places that, not to say they're sketchy because they're like sketchy people, but like it's nighttime and they're just chilling in the hospital because they're, have nowhere to live, and they just, they're dangerous or like, fine.
Yeah. The one that I went to had like alarms on the doors and uh, a security guard that did route, like, yeah, went around the whole thing. But the little girl and the man, like, I saw a shadow man and I heard a little girl scream. Is that like a specific kind of hospital demon? Because feels on brand.
It's the two spirits that everyone sees no matter what hospital you go to. You always see a little girl holding a red ball, and you always see an old man chasing after her.
Man, and the fact that people there canned the ashes. Oh,
What I read was that they found all these ashes in, like, ones that weren't buried or distributed elsewhere, in the basement of the hospital when they were, like, cleaning it out and, like, getting it, like, recently. Um, and they just found these tin cans full of people's ashes. Like, that's like, I wouldn't be pissed as a ghost. I'd be like, "Dope. I am in a can. Cool, here we go." But, like, I mean, I could imagine being pissed and, like, not being, you know, properly buried.
yeah, I don't know. I can imagine at least um that place being haunted. Like, yeah, I can imagine at least some of those people would be there, right? Because they're all just like not even separated. They don't even get like their own spot to rest. Plus, you're just stuck there, forgotten about, basically.
I feel like
Imagine that'd
places like this with so much awful energy can also open the door to, like, demons and, like, darker spirits to just be like, "Yo, what up? We're here. We're gonna start burning people on the ceiling." Shh.
yeah. Yeah, some supernatural stuff for sure.
That show goes so hard. I've been watching it all week, and it goes so. I have to laugh though. There was one episode I watched. I forgot this even happened. It was the episode where they were in this lake town, and this ghost was drowning people in the lake and also like in the bathtubs in the in the town because the ghost was mad at someone for killing them like 30 years before. But they killed one guy by like when they was on his boat, it like blew up and like shot up in the air.
What?
And
I
I
don't
was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, the show is so silly, but it is great. I love it.
Yeah. Man, you went hard. I watched it that night and then I was like, I can't watch this by myself. So then I went back to funny stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes hard. It goes hard. Um,
I'll have to catch up. See the
yes,
scene you're
yes.
talking about.
I think it's episode 2 or 3, so you don't have far to go.
Awesome.
Okay, so the next place is the Bush House Museum in Salem, Oregon.
Awesome.
So right in the middle of modern day Salem, Oregon, there's a beautiful park hiding a ghostly secret. Bush's Pasture Park, located near the sprawling Salem Hospital campus, was once the grand estate of one of Salem's most influential families, the Bush family, not related to George Bush. So just clearing that up. At the heart of the park stands the Bush House Museum, a stunning Italianate style home built in 1878 by uh, Asahel Bush, a wealthy newspaper publisher and banker. The house remained in the family for generations until it was turned into a museum in 1953. But even though it's been open to the public for decades, many believe the spirits of the Bush family have never truly left. The most well known ghost is said to be his daughter, his youngest daughter, Eugenia Bush, who was diagnosed with schizophrenia as a teenager and was sent to an institution at just 18 years old. While she spent most of her life away, she did return to the house later on and died there in the early 1930s. Today, many people believe she is still there. One of the most common reports of paranormal activity is the mysterious change in temperature. The house's heat has been known to turn up on its own out of the blue with no explanation. Some say it's her spirit, still fascinated by the luxury of central heating she experienced in her youth. Strangely enough, though, direct encounters with her ghost are often accompanied by icy cold spots in the air. Visitors and staff have also claimed to see her apparition wandering through the house, along with shadowy figures moving through the rooms. Others have heard eerie female voices or even the unmistakable sound of a woman sobbing loudly. Some say the cry is heart wrenching, while others report overhearing entire ghostly conversations between both male and female voices. Uh, but she might not be the only presence in the house. A male figure dressed in 1800s clothing has also been spotted, often seen fidgeting with a pocket watch. Some believe it is Asahel Bush himself, still keeping time in the house he built. So, the Bush House Museum in Salem, Oregon. Go
Yeah.
there, be haunted.
Yeah, I didn't like any of the stuff that they say is pretty regular around there. I don't want to hear anybody talking randomly. Like, who is that? I don't know. I hate that. Oh, and I know where that is too.
Oh, you do?
Definitely. Pass it all the time.
Well, night when you pass by, drive slow, and you'll probably hear the lady go,
We needed sound effects. Yeah, I will never go there. It sounds awful.
well. Maybe you'll go to this next place. Maybe, possibly. Uh, who knows? In May, who knows?
I
It's
am curious
called
about that girl's their daughter if she got sent away to the hospital that we used to explore Fairview.
Oh, that would make what city is Fairview in again, or was it in?
Salem.
Okay, so same. Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. What if she was in like she was what if she was following you around when you were there, and it wasn't Hat Man, it was Eugenia.
Yeah, don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Well, you know, if you were here, if you ever you just wake up in the middle of the night, you hear someone sobbing.
It's a little too close to home, you know?
When I was a kid, I used to think that like if I watched ghost stories or like read ghost stories, that I would be haunted by that person or whatever. Because I just by reading the story, I'd invite them into my home as if they were like vampires. You gotta invite them in.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows how it works? How do they latch onto you? Can the simple thought do it? Who knows? I don't. Can't
I,
can't say
I
it that way for sure.
I saw the funniest TikTok today, and okay, I don't know if I believe in vampires if they exist. Who knows? But I
They
won't
look like
discount.
What are you talking about?
I won't discount the theory yet. But uh, somebody posted on TikTok that there's like this apparently this big vampire crew or crowd or whatever that have been in America, and they're Uber drive they're Uber driver.
I've heard that they're in Louisiana and like yeah, I went on that side of TikTok once and it was great. It was
It's
great. Just talking
it,
about like the people and where they came from originally and how they look unchanged from these pictures in this country many years ago and then in Louisiana in like the early 1900s. I don't know.
see, I can get behind them chilling in Louisiana, you know, in a mansion or a plantation house or whatever. But I mean, Uber drive
All Uber
they're
drivers.
they're down their luck and they're Uber. You go on your phone, you're booking a driver, and like this guy is smiling, and he clearly has like fangs.
Well, what about like they don't even have to actually be Uber drivers. They just go where Uber drivers go to pick people up and then they act like they're Uber drivers. So they're just like literally just picking people up and that person disappears.
Yeah, I guess it's because you have to invite vampires into your house or your car. It's not the other way around. If they just let you in, they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to invite you. Wow.
Foolproof.
Wow.
It's so easy.
All right, guys, be careful.
Yeah.
Don't you if you get in an Uber, just make sure they smile for you and you see those fangs if they have them. If you see them, you're like, no, I'm good. Or you just get some holy water, and while they're driving, you just spray them.
What if the fangs are a rumor?
So, do they drink your blood by like stabbing you with like a needle? Uh,
Maybe the only thing that would make them a vampire is that they drink blood, right? It's not necessarily the fangs. Just saying.
that's a good point.
Don't get a
You're
false sense
actually
of security. Always be aware.
always be aware, guys. Don't just check
Yeah.
for the fangs. Ask if they're a vampire. Maybe just start carrying garlic around on you, and
It's
that'll.
like the it's like OLCC if you ask somebody if they're old enough to drink liquor. It's the Oregon Liquor Commission. Are you a vampire? No. Okay, cool. You passed that test.
You know, you have to tell me if you're a vampire, right? That's the
Yeah.
rule. You have to tell me.
I love this role.
I'm gonna start asking Uber drivers that from now. I'm like, hey, are you a vampire? Like, all right, I'm not driving you anywhere, man. Like, you can just stay here.
Yeah, never mind. You can go ahead and get out of here.
So this next place you might be open to going to, and maybe in May, who knows? It's called the Pittock Mansion in Portland, Oregon. If you've ever been to Portland, Oregon, you may have heard of Pittock Mansion, a grand French Renaissance style home, perched high in the West Hills, overlooking the city. It was built in 1914 by Henry and Georgiana Pittock. This mansion was meant to be their dream home, a place of luxury and breathtaking views. But what was supposed to be a lasting legacy became short lived. They only enjoyed their home for a few years before tragedy struck. Georgiana passed away in 1918, and Henry followed over a year later. Did you know that when in a couple, when the woman dies, the men usually die pretty soon afterwards. But if the flip happens and the man dies first, the woman dies like a long time after. Typically, not always, but usually dies way after.
Interesting. That happened with my grandparents. My grandma passed, and then my grandpa passed like a year later.
Yeah, my granddad died in the 80s and my grandmother died in 2010. So 30 years.
Wow. That's all the proof I
Uh
need.
that's all. just two cases. Just
You covered one, I covered the other. Makes sense.
um so Georgiana passed away in 1918 and Henry died in 1919. Their deaths marked the end of their time in the physical world, but many believe they never truly left. For decades, visitors and staff have reported eerie, unexplained occurrences within the mansion, leading many to believe the spirits of the family still linger in the home they cherished. One of the most commonly reported paranormal phenomena is the strong scent of roses, which was Georgiana's favorite flower. I mean, I feel like it's so basic though. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
Georgiana.
Honestly, that doesn't sound bad. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could explore this place. If I just smell a strong stench of roses, like, oh yeah, I had an experience. I don't want to mock it though, because if I am going there, I'm like, no, I'm gonna get my shit rocked.
uh, the fragrance apparently appears suddenly, drifting through the rooms where no flowers are present. Some believe it's a sign that Georgiana's spirit is still in the home and its gardens. Then there are moving objects, furniture, heirlooms, and even framed portraits mysteriously shifting places when no one is looking. Some claim to have seen apparitions of a distinguished older man, possibly Henry, inspecting his belongings and even adjusting them. But it's not just the objects that move. Heavy footsteps have been heard echoing through the mansion's halls, especially late at night or in rooms that are completely empty. And these footsteps don't just stop at the doorway, they travel, pacing as if someone unseen is still going about their daily routine. And then there are the windows. Windows that open and close on their own, locking and unlocking without explanation. It's as if an unseen force is still tending to the house, making sure it's well ventilated or secure for the night. This poor fucking ghost, like, God motherfucking damn it, these motherfuckers keep leaving the goddamn windows open.
This ghost is just going around opening, closing things, and working.
They got OCD they got mental health problems even in the afterlife. Like, come on now.
Damn.
But the most chilling reports involve full body apparitions, ghostly figures resembling uh, Georgiana and Henry. Witnesses describe seeing fleeting glimpses of a woman in elegant clothing or a tall, well dressed man standing in the shadows of a doorway, only to vanish moments later. some have even reported seeing figures watching them from the windows when the mansion was supposed to be empty. Um, the haunting of this mansion is considered a classic case of residual energy, where a place was full of so much love, history, and loss that it seems to hold on to the spirits of those who lived there. Kind of like I feel like Gettysburg is that same way. Like so much violence, so much death, and so much energy just got locked into place there.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah. I just can't get over in the afterlife these ghosts are working. That sucks.
See, I would be fucking like messing shit up. I wouldn't be fixing shit. I'd be like, yo, you want your luggage in your room? No, it's gonna go in the fucking basement, bro. You want your food on your table? No, it's gonna go in the toilet. Like,
But okay, I was fine with most of like the scary stuff except for the figures watching you. Don't love that.
okay, what if like they're not watching you? What if like you turn around and you see the figure and they're looking
I want to see a
the
figure.
opposite direction?
I want to see a figure. Because my eyesight's so bad. I'd just be like, are they looking at me? No. Either way, I don't want to see a figure. That's my whole problem.
I would love to see. I have been waiting to see ghosts since I was 12 years old in the hotel room. Never again.
I just keep imagining, like, what if, like, you see one and you're like, it's right there and I can't see it?
Or I see the man and you see the woman.
I hate it. I just want to hear stomping or something, but not near me.
Stomping? You want to hear stomping like they're angry?
They're like working around, going down the hallway or whatever.
You just walk in and like the ghost like painting. Oh, whoops! Didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish
Opening and
painting.
closing windows. They're just trying to get the draft right. I don't think I'll be scared of those ghosts, but I don't want to see the figures.
Just like
Pass.
walk in and like someone's like a ghost is like cleaning the toilet. Like, damn, dude, you're getting fucked in the afterlife.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, how sad is that? That's not an afterlife. That's the bad place. Somehow it gets worse. We are
What?
all one soul.
But I mean, freaking egg theory.
God, it all goes back to that. It all goes back to the egg theory.
I have been trying to get. I've been looking for like experts on like different theories of reality, and I've been trying to get. I saw one TikToker who had like 500,000 followers was talking about egg theory, and I was like, holy fucking shit! Like, yo, let's talk. And she like we were messaging back for a little bit, and then she just ghosted me. So I think she's either lost my message or got too busy. But I was like, man,
Damn.
just need one person like who knows a lot about the theory to like you know break
I don't
Stephanie's
know.
brain.
It doesn't take a lot. It does not take a lot to break my brain. And that one, it does. I don't know. Yeah, I can't. Even thinking about it breaks my brain. But it keeps coming back up. Yeah, I just may not understand it, but it keeps coming back up.
So this next one is actually it's kind of a combination of two um two areas. It's Cannon Beach, Oregon, and then it's a I found a haunted story from Reddit of someone who was driving on Highway 22 and
Cool.
saw a lady on the side of the road. So,
Cool.
uh,
That's the
the
highway I
first
drive.
just don't drive it late at night. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hopefully it's the other direction.
So the first one is the Bandage Man of Cannon Beach. In the coastal town of Cannon Beach, Oregon, a chilling legend has persisted for decades: the tale of the Bandage Man. The eerie figure is said to haunt a desolate stretch off of Highway 101, instilling fear in those who travel it, especially young couples seeking solitude. That's kind of fucked up. Like,
I
bro,
know,
you're
because Cannon
ageist.
Beach is also super cool. So young couples, that feels like a spot for them.
Make out point.
There's lots of great breweries like right on the beach. It's great.
I've never been to Cannon Beach, but maybe one day I'll go.
It's got Haystack Rock, I think.
Hmm. The Bandaged Man is described as a malevolent entity wrapped in filthy, bloody-soaked bandages, emitting a foul odor of decaying flesh. If I'm a ghost, dude, I'm not gonna like stink. I'm not doing that, man. I'm not gonna be the ghost that stinks like shit. Like, no, bro, come on, man.
I just
Uh
the fact that, man, they've done some heavy marketing in that area to get so far away from this stinky ghost.
this poor ghost has spent
Damn.
his entire afterlife smelling like shit. Well, you know,
Is it a ghost or is it just one cranky man who lives
trying
there?
to get people trying to get people to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Um Witnesses claim he moves with an unnatural gait as if his limbs are disjointed. Yet he possesses the agility to leap into the beds of
What?
I didn't see this part in the story when I read it earlier. He leaps into the beds of passing pickup trucks.
Ooh. So you're safe if you don't drive a pickup truck. Cool.
Or your backseat is full of shit. Like,
No. Okay. All right. Finally. The theory makes sense. Took a lot, though.
his presence is often heralded by the sudden sensation of a vehicle leaning to one side, followed by the horrifying sight of his bandaged form at the window attempting to break in. That just sounds like an asshole. Like he just jumps in the bed of your truck, weighs it down on one side, and then tries to break into your back window. Like
He's just trying to scare the shit out of you.
he
And
apparently
Highway
is.
101 is scary.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's scary.
Now I want to drive it late
It's
at night.
absolutely beautiful, but yeah, terrifying. And then, yeah, at night, no. It just feels like there's like some spots that you can just drive off into the ocean.
Oh, is it like off the? Is it like a? Are you on a cliff?
I mean, it just feels like there are spots that it is kind of sketchy. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, now I really do want to drive it. I really do want to drive it. The origins of this specter are rooted in tragedy. According to legend, he was once a logger who suffered a catastrophic accident at a local. I'm sorry, it's not funny. I mean, but this guy's getting fucked. He had suffered a catastrophic accident at a local sawmill, leaving him grievously injured and swathed in bandages. While en route to the hospital, I can't. This guy is the worst luck ever. So he got into an accident at the sawmill, and then on the route to the hospital, there was a rock slide, and the ambulance is buried. This poor guy, he has the worst luck in the world, and then he has to smell like shit the entire afterlife.
That's the 101 for you. I'm telling you, it's dangerous.
I just want to know what this guy did to have all that happen to him and then end up stuck in that form in the afterlife. Like, what did you do, like, to the spirits? Did you, like, upset some demon somewhere or something? Like, something happened.
It could have happened to any of us.
That is true. I mean, the rock slide, yes. I just mean, like, smelling like shit your entire afterlife.
You know, it's just that sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. Who knows how the world is the way it is right now?
Does that mean if you die on the toilet, you're you appear
Probably.
as a ghost on the toilet?
Do you stink then? Because, like, well, because I don't know. Aren't you supposed to, like, your body will let go of everything? So they're already there. So technically, do they stink more than somebody who doesn't make it to the toilet?
Can you just imagine, like, you're staying in a hotel room and you wake up and there's a ghost toilet in the middle of the room, and there's someone just like clenching.
Oh, no. No.
And then you hear a pop pop.
That's the haunting. That's no. I think that manifests in a different kind of energy. Has to. It can't. It can't be like that. It
That's how I'm
can't.
gonna go. I know that's how I'm gonna go now that I've made fun of it.
I mean, it happens to a lot of people. If it wasn't you, it'd be me. So thanks, I guess. Although, if it was my time, it would have been on Christmas. It was almost me.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. Oh, this poor bandage man. But apparently they couldn't find his body, and his restless spirit now roams the area, not on a toilet, seeking vengeance, or perhaps simply a final resting place. Uh, Encounters with the bandaged man are not limited to visual sighting. Visual sightings. Some have reported finding remnants of bloody, putrid bandages in the area, suggesting his lingering presence. There are even accounts of missing pets, half-eating remains being found near the highway, which have led locals to believe the bandaged man feeds on animals and possibly more. Uh, while some dismiss these stories as mere folklore intended to deter teenagers from secluded spots, the legend of the bandaged man remains a haunting chapter in Oregon's coastal lore. Oh, poor bandaged man.
Dang, poor bandage man. How do you not find his body? Is the guy in the ambulance?
That's what I don't understand. Like, you're in an ambulance. Like, how hard is it? They found the driver. Like,
It
how
feels like
hard is it to find a body? That
Yeah, it feels like a cartoon. Like the rocks come down, get the front of the ambulance. He just like bloop out the back. It sounds terrible, but
it's like there's like old cartoons or like the Acme like thing falls
exactly.
down. He just like flies out of the back.
I mean, it feels like that kind of luck, but at the same time, it feels like all of our luck these days.
I was gonna say like maybe like the driver of the ambulance is going too fast around a corner. Like whoop, there goes the body. Whoop,
I
whoops.
mean, yeah, yep, yep. some cartoon craziness that you wouldn't expect. Yep.
Poor guy. We made fun of him, or I made fun of him. But, I'm going to hell anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, here is the story of the strange person it's called Strange Person on Highway 22 near the coast at night by user Dignified Fruit in the subreddit r paranormal. I feel like I should preface this story with a statement that I'm usually a skeptic when it comes to paranormal stories, albeit an open-minded skeptic. I had never had an experience I would truly say was paranormal until this one. I have searched for hours on Google, attempting to find a similar story from someone else, and have had no luck. What really stands out to me is that there is an energy or feeling that accompanies the experience, and even remembering it still gives me this feeling and goosebumps. This is not something I would normally experience, and most people that know me would probably be surprised that I would be spooked by much of anything. I am a veteran and I have spent years since leaving the military working in emergency rooms, specialized security, and doing other high adrenaline jobs, and am not prone to being creeped out. I am hoping to find someone else who may have had a similar experience, as I feel oddly compelled to relate to someone about this. With that, here goes. A couple of months ago, I was driving with my wife down a rural highway in Oregon, returning home from a road trip to Crater Lake. We live on the coast, and the highway we were taking to get back is very curvy as it winds through the Cascade mountain range. It was dark as ink and probably about 11 p.m. We were driving along, and I was watching the road going about 45 miles per hour. We round a bend, which makes me slow down to about 40. And just as we get around it, my wife suddenly says, "Look out, there's a person there." It takes me a second for some reason as I let off the gas. Then I noticed him slash her slash it. Crouched near the side of this 2-lane highway on my left side is a person wearing what looks like gray, baggy sweats or clothes and a reflective vest. This is easily 20 miles either direction from civilization and is heavily wooded. Think Oregon coast forest. I begin braking, and instantly the figure stands up, faces us, and begins jogging directly at the car. It felt like electricity in the air, as when she faced us with her head, it was flopped to the side like her neck was totally limp and her mouth was wide open. She appeared to have gray hair, and her arms or hands were held up to her chest with her wrists curled. Her legs didn't seem to be working right either as she hobbled at us. Think like someone with severely progressed multiple sclerosis. Then it hit, this primal like feeling of dread, like my subconscious knew something wasn't right. I couldn't fully focus on her as the car was still moving and I had to steer, but my wife was looking right at her. My first thought normally would have been to hit the brakes and see what was going on, as once again, this is literally miles and miles from town, but there was this dread feeling in the air, and time almost seemed to slow down. At that moment, I heard my wife say, "Don't stop, just go." Instinctively, I accelerated. As we sped up, this lady was jogging right at us and must have come within a foot of running into the side of our car as we drove past her. We rounded the next bend, and I looked at my wife and just said, "What the hell was that? Should I turn around? Who the hell jogs out here? What was wrong with her neck?" My wife just looked at me and said, "No, don't go back. I don't know what that was." I told her I couldn't look directly at her for very long as I was focused on the road, but told her what I saw, and she confirmed that she saw the same thing. She said when she came up the side of the car, she was staring right at us, and my wife looked her in her eyes, but she didn't have any pupils, and her expression stayed just like frozen with her mouth open. We scoured news stories, and I even contacted local authorities who advised no one was reported missing or hurt out there. I get the strange feeling, and I think about her as does my wife. Anytime I talk about her, I am compelled to refer to the person as it. All I know is it wasn't right. We've conned her the floppy headed jogger. Has anyone
Yeah.
else experienced something like this?
Had anyone?
No one else had, but people mentioned in the comments that like because that highway in Oregon, there's a lot of like missing people, murders. So it potentially could have been somebody. It could have been a legit person. I don't know about the neck shit and like the running at the car, but it could have been like a legit person, who was hurt and needed help, and they could have. I could really see this as being like that person needed help, and they were like really injured and running weirdly, and like it being late at night, they thought they saw something they didn't see. I don't know.
Yeah. But the missing people area is a little bit different part of Highway 22. That's more like eastern. Where they're talking
Mm.
about is like more near the coast. That's probably just before where I work. Like, if you're over at the coast area, that sounds so scary. I know a really good hike over there. But it is like it's an eerie place, and it is terrifying to think of somebody who the description. Ugh, I want to see that. Yeah, no, I want to see that. It sounds terrible.
You're driving on the road and you see this random toilet, and there's Elvis.
All I can think of is when the girlfriend's like, just drive," and he's like, "Should I go back?" And she's like, "Why would you go back?" That was
This
the
is
only reason.
why this is why men should not be leading, because I would go back to like drive past it again. Like, oh, I wouldn't stop, but I'd be the kind of person who would turn around and drive past it again. I'm like, yeah, let's go see it. I want to see her. I want to see what happened.
Only if
But
your back seat was full of things.
there are like instances of like people um coming across like car accidents, like a car just blocking half the road or like most of the road, and like somebody laying on the ground, and it looks like an accident happened, like they got ejected or whatever. And if you stop, they mug you slash murder you. Um, it's been like a well documented thing in like rural areas of the country,
What?
and yeah. So if you ever see a car pull over, just keep going. Don't stop.
That is exactly my theory. I would not pull over. I'm not. I'm like the least helpful person because it's all survival mode.
Also, it's like I don't want to change a tire at 2 a.m. Sorry, man. I'll call you an Uber, and you can just ask if he's a vampire. Don't worry. Gotta tell you. Um,
Taste. Just gotta have.
yeah. So that's that. That's our haunted stories for this week. I figured we haven't talked about ghosts in a while, and our that was our first episode was about ghosts. So go back to our roots.
Oh yeah, I like talking about ghosts. Although they don't sound as scary when you start talking about like demons and stuff like that. Ghosts sound like, well, it's kind of fun. It's just I don't want to see the bodies of people staring at me, or just even like the shadow of a body. Just nope, that's not supposed to be there. I don't want to see that. I'll hear the stomping and light cleaning and the windows open and closed. But
What about the knocks and threes?
no, that's demons. Demons knocking threes.
What if they knocked at fours? Is that like a ghost, I guess? But knocking four, it's probably safe.
Yeah, probably.
What do
I don't.
angels knocking?
Well, angel numbers are supposed to be like 444, so maybe it is fours. Maybe they don't knock.
I, I think from now on, whenever I knock on a door, I'm gonna knock in threes, like just to see if I mean if someone gets it, then they'll be like, "What the fuck?" But if just fuck with people,
Just start being a demon now.
just get the black. Next year when I go trick or treat with my daughter, I'm like, you need to knock 3 times. That's it. Yep, slow, and that's it.
Demon. Start being a demon now. That should be a
I
slogan.
might as well. That should be our slogan. Start being a demon now. This hellscape. Might as well.
Yeah, for real. I'm on board. Let's do it.
Well, thank you everybody, and we will see you next week.
Bye.